Them is an Amazon original television series, and it definitely is horror. There's a good amount of horror in it, but it's mostly a period piece drama with a lot of mental illness and a fuck ton of racism that is insanely hard to watch. This is set in the 50s, and it is about a black family who moves away from the South during the Great Migration, as they call it in the opening credits. They move to East Compton, California. And when they get there and they move in, across the street from, the traditional white American nuclear family. Everything's perfect and rosy until the black family moves into the neighborhood, right? And so they immediately are met with resilience, and these people want them out and are plotting and planning in every which way they can. And the family in this is dealing with a horrible tragedy. Like, when it's revealed what happened in episode 4 or 5, I want to say, somewhere in that area. I think it's 4. You're wondering what happened, right? And then it finally shows you what happened. And it is one of the most disturbing, hard to watch scenes that I've watched in a good long while. Like, I was just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, what I'd be doing right now, what I would do after that. Like, it really is. It really is tough to sit through. And I never, ever say stuff like that. Like, now, of course, I can handle it, but is it something you want to handle? you know, it's horrible. But it does serve a purpose in the story. And it's not just there for shock value. It very much plays into this story because it, compromises the family, especially the mother, mentally. And she's dealing with some serious demons, literally and figuratively throughout. And everyone's kind of got their own demons. And we follow the story of each individual family member. The little kid, not as much. Some, because she sees this monster as well, her own. She gets a decent amount of screen time, but nowhere near as much as the rest of the family. The focus is mostly on the mom and the dad. And the dad is an engineer, and he works at this place. Of course, he's the only black guy that works there. And of course, everyone at his job sucks and is talking behind his back and won't invite him to parties. And, then you got the mom who's at home, and she's trying to deal with what happened to her before they moved there. And of course, she's seeing this, like, priest or whatever he is, which actually I have an entire episode in the past. It's episode 9. It's in the past, and it deals with the backstory of that character. So it's kind of cool because you think like, oh, are we ever going to even know what this character is or whatnot? Now he's the only like demon thing that really gets like a full blown story and backstory. But this did get approved for a second season, so I'll be very curious where this is going. But anyways, this is spoiler free, by the way. I'm just giving you very easy bullet points here on the show. I don't feel like this is spoiling anything. We get Allison Pill in here as the neighbor across the street who's supposed to be, the Beaver Cleaver or Beaver. What is it? I never watched the Leave It to Beaver show. Is it Beverly Cleaver? What's the mom's name? I don't know. I honestly have never watched the show. I just know Leave It to Beaver because of its pop culture freaking significance, but I've never watched a single episode, and I only know the kid's name. Anyway, she's the perfect housewife, whatever. And I know Allison Pill from Scott Pilgrim versus the World and all sorts of shit. But to see her play this character was, God, it was weird to watch because she's unbelievably awful. And that's just it. I mean, I guess some people could see this as some kind of like propaganda or you know, oh, some liberal agenda type of thing again. Oh, here we go with the racism. I mean, dude, black people had it horrible in the 50s. This is just plain and simple. So if you're going to depict a black family in the 50s and they're moving into a white neighborhood, expect a fuck ton of racism and xenophobia and bigotry and hatred and just it really was. It's just, it's hard to watch because of what's happening in the show, but of course it's also hard to watch because this show is accurately portraying how a fuck ton of people were back then. And of course there are some people like that to this day, but the numbers are much lower. At least I think. But yeah, it very much seems to be the case. They're unfortunately still around, but fuck. This is a tough watch, but a great one. This is awesome. This is, you know, arguably my favorite horror show of this year. This one really surprised me. I threw it on like I didn't know what it was about at all. And there's tons of horror shows that I've just been putting off, but and I hadn't really heard anyone talk about it. But it was getting decent ratings. It has like a 7.3 on IMDb, which is pretty good. And so it's like, oh, fuck it. I'll just throw it on for an episode, see what it's like. And I was like instantly into it. And I really liked the family, even though, they're a likable family, but they've went through shit. And they're dealing, oh man, and the daughter's storyline, the older daughter's storyline, and her relationship with this girl at school and how she's treated at school and where this heads. And when she goes to this like bonfire rally thing, and that's so sad. That's such a sad scene. It's like, oh God. And the horror stuff is cool. It's creepy. There's this guy in like blackface with like white stuff on his, the mouth. You know what I'm talking about, that caricature that they used to do. I forget what they used to call that, but Jesus Christ. He's cool as hell, man. He is so creepy, and I love his performance, and his teeth are so like weird looking and really fit the character. And I loved that stuff. I loved everything with him and the dad in this. I thought that was super cool. There's some good surprises throughout for sure. Things that I was like not expecting at all. Stuff with Alison Pill's character for sure. Some of the stuff towards the end, I was like, whoa, what is happening now? Some things the mom does, the dad does, like you're just like, whoa, okay, that's happening now. And this is, whoa, okay, crazy. So some good surprises, great acting, fantastically shot. The special effects and everything are wonderful. The horror's done very well. Episode 9 is not filler. I think it's very important for the show. So anyone who's like, oh, 9 was pointless, bullshit. I thought it was really good, but horribly hard to watch. Horribly hard to watch. Oh my God. That's just it. If you're opposed to, you think shows like this shouldn't exist, or I don't know why you would think that, but if you just don't want to be beat over the head with racism, I guess is what you would think, this is definitely not the show for you. But I think it's a pretty accurate portrayal of what people were like back then. And, it's a show that, now typically if a family moves into a house after a tragedy and they're dealing with like haunted ghosts of the past, like a haunting of Hill House or something, they're typically dealing with that, right? And that alone. But these people have to deal with not being, not anyone wanting them around, being, disrespected and abused every fucking time they turn around, in addition to dealing with this horrible tragedy, in addition to dealing with all of these demons that are following them around. I mean, anybody would snap under that. Every one of them would go crazy. And the dad's dealing with PTSD from freaking World War II, and of course, the tragedy that they go through all together. All of them are suffering from that. So, great stuff, man. What a fantastic show. I was into it the entire time. Never was bored once. Always was engaged. an excellent drama horror. And there's definitely a good amount of horror, so it's absolutely a horror show. But the real horror in the show is how people would treat other people because of their fucking skin color. Their skin color. Like, racism's always been fascinating to me. You know, it's maddening, but it's fascinating. It's like melanin. like I have more melanin in my skin than you. You should die. But, I mean, it's not just white people, right? I mean, every fucking civilization in the history of ever has enslaved, you know, a group of people. Like, everyone has been at fault for it. It's not just America that's done it. It's not just white people who have done it. Everybody has done it. Every race has done it to every race. It's a human problem. And I don't know what the fuck people, like, makes people think that they have the right to, you know, possess someone like their fucking property. But man, this is tough to watch. This is so rough, but absolutely fantastic. Heavily recommended. Absolutely check it out and let me know. Adios.